We recently heard a news that WHO has issued a warning against using Diet Coke because they found that there may be some cancer causing elements inside Diet Coke. In this video, we will understand what exactly is the problem with all kind of diet sodas, diet carbonated drinks like Diet Coke. Now these beverages have an artificial sweetener called aspartame. The purpose of using an artificial sweetener is of course to reduce the calorie intake when you are consuming these diet sodas, so that you don't gain weight, that the blood sugar does not get high, etc. So aspartame was actually discovered in 1965 and has been very popular since then. The target audience were people who were obese, people who had diabetes. The idea was that these people should not use the normal sugar which has sucrose, because it can elevate your blood sugar level, it can increase your weight and obesity, and thus use a low calorie sweetener, because aspartame is 180 to 200 times sweeter than normal sugar. So very less quantity will be used, and thus the calorie intake will go down, and thus it may help in obesity and diabetes. That was the main concept. And then the use increased from everything. You have artificial sweetening tablets which you can put in milk, tea, coffee. You have diet sodas which are very, very popular now. The problem happened when the consumption became excessive. See, anything is okay in moderation, and it has been proven in studies also. But when taken in excess, things may go haywire. So there are studies which tell us that too much consumption of aspartame may be very, very counterproductive. Most of these studies give us conflicting reports. Some study tells one thing, another study tells another thing. But I'll tell you what I understood in a nutshell. Now, aspartame, if used in moderation, once in a while, is okay to use. It does help you by not increasing your blood sugar levels, and it is okay for people who are calorie conscious. But when you start consuming it a lot, the daily recommended allowance, also called the RDA, recommended daily allowance of aspartame, goes very high, and research tells us that it can cause neurological problems, brain problems. So problems like behavioral issues, depression or stress can increase, because aspartame increases cortisol levels in your blood and thus increasing your stress levels. It can interfere in your sleep cycle also. In the long run, it can cause long-term neurological disorders, diseases like Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. There are studies which have shown that excessive use of aspartame may be linked to early development of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease in susceptible individuals. Also, consumption of aspartame during pregnancy is highly debated. There are some studies which tell us that using aspartame by pregnant ladies is okay, because it does not cross the placenta, and if it does, the amount is very, very less. But there are certain studies which have shown some development abnormalities in the fetus, in the baby inside the mother's womb. When the use of aspartame increased a lot in 1983, the incidence of autism in childhood also increased. So it may not be a direct link, but it raises some kind of alarm bells. Also, cancer. Now, aspartame may be genotoxic. It may alter your genes, and thus it may increase the chances of developing certain kind of cancers. Again, it is a very, very gray area. There are studies which are giving us conflicting reports, but the recent advisory from the WHO does ring an alarm. On top of it, to make the matters worse, there are certain studies that show that aspartame, the artificial sweetener, may not be helpful at all in controlling obesity and diabetes. In fact, some researchers have found that aspartame can lead to an increase of certain substances in the blood after consumption, which can be counterproductive in diabetes. Also, taking artificial sweeteners does not reduce the hunger pangs, and the person tends to eat more. thereby negating even the calorie deficit property of aspartame. So it may not help too much in obesity also. So this is basically a bit of a gray area. Things are not very clear because there are so many studies giving conflicting reports. But meta-analysis means analysis of the studies. So a researcher sits down, takes out all the studies on aspartame or any other topic and then makes a conclusion. It basically collates, it gathers the data done over multiple studies. So this video is based on the study that I did of multiple meta-analysis done on aspartame, their safety profile basically. Now the problem is everything is in a gray area because different studies are giving us very conflicting reports. But a meta-analysis tells us that there is a problem somewhere. We cannot pinpoint it as yet because it is not totally black and white, but in my opinion, excessive consumption of aspartame may cause problems in the future. So as a take-home message, my personal advice would be that avoid excessive consumption of Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, etc. because though we may feel that it's a healthier option, but actually it is not, because it may be causing many other problems beyond your calorie plus minus. So think again before you take up the next can of Diet Coke.